Hello and welcome to another episode of Ashes to Go. I'm your host, Redbyrd, and with me is BDLG. Bordy, welcome back to the show, dude.
Yeah, man, these every 2-week cadence, it takes a little bit, but we've been posting a lot of other Ashes content together, so it doesn't seem as long now.
Go check out the YouTube channel if you're interested in Ashes of Creation content, which you are because you're listening to a podcast about it. So definitely check out the YouTube video. Go throw us a sub. We got lots of cool Ashes of Creation content over there that we put up weekly. I mean, dude, twice a week we put up an Ashes video, including the podcast.
Yeah.
So go check that out, boys. All right, so we got a good show for you guys tonight. We're gonna go a little bit over the brief we're going to go over a brief overview of the Mage video that was released. We did a full video on our YouTube channel, so yet again we're just continuing to self-promote shamelessly. It's our podcast and our YouTube channel. It's all about us, and really, we're just changing this to us to go.
You have a way to make that sound real bad, man.
I mean, I was just saying what everybody's thinking.
Listen,
at this point,
his views do not reflect mine. My opinion is that it's all about our audience, dude. Yes. I'm here to serve them, dude. I'm here to provide content for them.
Yes, one of us is lying. Who is
no. You, obviously.
Yeah. All right, and we're going to go over the December development update. At the end, we got a lot of cool stuff. And the ancient boss and all of that stuff that we haven't talked about on the podcast yet. So we're excited to go through all of this for you guys, our loyal listeners. All right, so Bordy, we'll start with the Mage video, dude.
Yeah.
All right. So if you didn't see it, or if you missed it, there was a video that they put up of detailing the Mage abilities from level 1 through 10. We don't know if that's it for Mage abilities because obviously the game's still in alpha and whatnot. But we did see the Cleric video earlier this year, or a couple months ago, or a month ago, or whatever. So now we got the Mage video. We got 8 abilities there, Bordy. We, again, broke these down in a video, so we don't want to go too into detail on each skill. But overall, what did you think about the Mage? It's nice to see another class out there that kind of has some flavor to it.
Mage looks cool, man. I mean, I think it's everything you'd expect from a Mage. One thing we did notice is that there's a lot of schools of magic that they use right out of the gate with 8 abilities. It's kind of a wide range. It's not just focused on ice or fire or void or whatever. There's a whole slew, whole range throughout those 8 abilities, which was pretty interesting. And then just, dude, I got to say it, man, the animations, although I did get ripped up a little bit on Reddit because, listen, I'm not the only one that shares that sentiment. All right. I feel like the animations are a bit much. That's just my opinion. One man's opinion. I do think they look amazing. They look super cool. I just feel like they're a bit much. But listen, they are supposed to full out be redoing some of those or toning those animations down. So I'm not worried about it. Just in its current state, dude. It's
interesting because they just put out that video like a week ago. And they have plans to redo the animations that that video is just the animations, right? So, I mean, it does show the ability and what it does, which is very interesting. Like you mentioned, a lot of MMOs, we're used to seeing mages as basically elemental type people that control ice and fire and sometimes arcane and all those things. And we get the flavors of that, but they're also the darker magics that the mage can do, drain essence and stuff. So it kind of gives you, I think the Mage gives us a better picture of what these classes are going to look like, how broad the scope is going to be for each base class, and then how much those are going to affect your base class if you use it as a subclass, because there's, again, a lot of flavors involved with these abilities. So it'll be cool, dude, because you could really, depending on what choices you make for how you're going to alter your skills and abilities. I mean, like a warrior mage combo could look completely different from one to another, which is exciting because you already have 64 subclasses in the game. I mean, and then if you add more variety to that, dude, it could be a lot of fun in combat and PvP running into all these different types of builds.
Yeah, it could be, man, and all that stuff is yet to be determined. But all of these little, I guess they're not teasers, just these reveals about how the mage, the archetype of the mage, all of those abilities that you have. It's going to be very interesting to see how those do morph whenever you get your second archetype. So that part of the game, I'm incredibly excited about, and I enjoyed the video overall, man. I liked seeing what they're bringing to the table for the mage, and I think that's probably just a baseline. I'd imagine that's going to change over time, but I'm ready to see what the second archetype transforms into for every different archetype, man. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, even the two that we got, being a cleric and a mage, dude, what's that gonna look like? Are you gonna be, you're gonna be adding some holy fire or holy water, or who knows what's going on over there? But it's gonna be cool, dude.
Possibilities.
Yeah, and I'm excited about it. I am excited about it for sure. All right, so since we've had a podcast, we had and it just turns out we made a podcast the day before the actual December development update. So this information is probably old to you guys. But hey, we're trying to break this down for those people who don't keep up to the minute updates on Ashes of Creation, which is probably nobody at this point. Maybe there's somebody. There's a very dedicated community around Ashes of Creation. So, yeah, we're gonna do this. We'll make it quick and interesting, hopefully. All right. So, first and foremost, during this December development update, they gave us alpha footage, Bordy. And in that alpha footage, they gave us a boss fight of no other than the Ancients, something we covered on the podcast as far as lore goes. So we got to actually see in-game versions of the Ancients, and spoiler alert, they're awesome.
They are cool, man. For alpha footage and as early as it is, I thought that the footage was really good. I enjoyed the heck out of it, man. It was fun to watch. It was fun to kind of sit there and analyze the abilities and see who was using what and try to figure out, if something was tab targeted or skill based or whatever. And then it was absolutely, I laughed a lot. I had to rewind the video a lot whenever they got knocked off the side of the cliff, dude, during that video. It was hilarious. So if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it because there's some pretty funny moments that happened.
Yeah, the mechanics are really cool. Obviously, you like to see stuff like that because, PvE content and having different mechanics to the bosses and tying those mechanics together to a boss fight are very, very important as far as, entertainment factor and again, difficulty and all those things. So it's good to see that those bosses already have multiple mechanics. They did mention that this particular ancient boss or set of bosses was part of a 40-man raid. And so they went out there with 6 to 8 people and tried to take on that boss. So it was obviously whatever you think would have happened is what happened. They just got demolished and got chucked around the map. And one of them actually, I don't think is intentional, but got sent almost across the entire ocean of the alpha map. So it was pretty fun. You should definitely go check that out if you haven't seen that already. So this is kind of an interesting topic, Bordy, because this is obviously the first alpha footage we've seen of an actual boss fight or anything like that. What other types of encounters are we looking for in Ashes of Creation? Now we know that they're going to do open world dungeons and some instance content, but they set out a percentage. I can't remember what that exact percentage was, but I know that it was weighted towards open world content. So
it's 80-20, I think.
80-20 is what I was going to guess. So so it's interesting, Bordy. Do we think we're going to see a lot of open world raid encounters like this, or do you think these bosses are part of one of the closed instance type raids?
I would assume both, man, right? I would think both. I would think that in the 80%, that's going to include almost everything. That's a large chunk of the dungeon type of content and the raid type of content. 80% is a lot. So I would assume both. I would think that, dude, I don't know, man. What would be your preference, Red? Would you rather see more of this type of stuff, in terms of, so let's just focus on raiding for a second,
sure.
Large 40-man raids. Would you rather see that instanced or large 40-man raids open world?
Here, and this is something that I think is an interesting conversation, because I do think that if you want to control the difficulty of an experience and an encounter, you have to have it instanced, because there isn't any way in the open world to limit the amount of players that can go in and do the encounter. So what often happens, I think, especially like if there's any sort of a gain to be had from killing these bosses, like, you know, armor drops or anything that helps progress your player, the more people are going to go in and try to kill that thing, you know, maybe at the same time, maybe not, but they're going to take way more than 40 people, right? If they have them available. Also, you're going to see like maybe 100 level, like if max level's level 50, you're going to see like 100 or 200 level 40s going in there and trying to kill these raid bosses. So, I mean, like, I don't know, man. I think if you're looking to set some sort of like a difficult encounter with a competitive environment, I think you have to do like instance content.
Yeah, it seems that way. But what is Ashes? What is their solution to that? Right? What is their solution to just preventing all of these people from coming to one open world encounter, one open world dungeon all of the time? Like it's been a long time since I've really dove into the dungeon mechanics of Ashes of Creation, so I could be completely speaking incorrectly here. But I don't know that I've seen any solution to that yet. Have you?
No, and that's the challenge, I think, especially with open world content. Now, there are some games that kind of, I guess, boast open world rating and open world content, but usually like there's some sort of like key to get through a teleport to go through a different part of the open world. So basically there's like a floating island over the open world that technically you could jump off the island and get back to the open world. But they kind of limit, you know, how you get there and how, you know, you have to be part of whatever, a group that has a key or something like that. There are always ways, but in my mind, that's still technically an instanced piece of material or content because it's like, you know, technically without the key, you can't get in there. So I don't know, man. It gets complicated, obviously. But I don't know if there really ever has been a solution for open world raiding. And I'm not sure any other games have really tried it that I know of.
Well, maybe the solution is that, well, we know in Ashes right now, there's not going to be a lot of fast travel, right? Like we know that that's not a thing in the game. So maybe the solution is that you just put multiple raids in each node and then there will be multiple options for people to do. So everybody's not crammed into one place, right?
Sure.
So maybe there's just going to be so many options scattered around that it's not going to be like everybody's rushing to one dungeon or one raid in the open world. And it's not so polluted in there that it's hard to do. Maybe that's the solution.
Yeah, that I think it's very interesting the way, you know, obviously the way they're going to do the node progression system and you have to progress a node to a metropolis state to open up maybe the raid in the node, which they have mentioned stuff like that occurring. You know, that to me, even if that raid is not open world, if it's instance, there's still like a lot of open world content that you have to do and complete before you can even raid. And I think, you know, the 80-20 could be just that, right? You know, 80% is basically how you unlock dungeons, how you unlock raids, you know, both open world and instance. So it makes sense that a lot of this instance content is probably locked around node progression, right? Which, you know, again, we had a little bit of discussion on our New World podcast about, you know, what they should do as far as their instance content. And it looks a lot like that, right? Having all the open world content be viable because of the, you know, the way that you have to gain access to progression in these instance content.
Yeah, which could work, I think. I mean, I think that's a pretty viable solution to the problem for sure. So let me ask you this. I'm going to pivot for just a second here and let's talk about 40-man raids, because he talked about in that video, he specifically said that those were for like a 40-man raid. What do you think about 40-man raids in video game? Do you like that many people, or do you like for it to be scaled down?
It's old school for sure.
School,
honestly, I like scale. I mean, I don't know. People are going to get mad about that. You can say whatever you want. I think people might get mad about it. So, you know, I like it. I like there to be scaled content, like, you know, to however many people that you have. But I like the idea of having just a 40-man difficulty level that drops different and maybe better loot. So like if me and you can get like 12 people in there and we go get to do the raid, then it scales to our party and maybe like we don't get as good of loot, but we still get like raid quality loot. We just don't get as good. Maybe they get 10 item levels higher than what we get for doing the 40-man. I like it like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I like it better like that, to where there is an option for people that can't get 40 people together to still be able to experience the content, but obviously not in like a looking for raid type of setting. You still have to get those 12 people together in an organized fashion. But I do like the opportunity or the option to do like a 40-man raid, because I think that is also something people like to do. So I don't know. I think the more options you have, the better. Because, you know, obviously you got a big player base that not everybody's going to feel the same about a 40-man group.
I think there's a ton of people that love 40-man groups out there. I think that there's some fun to be had with the 40-man raids, and I've been a part of those before, but in my opinion, I hate them, dude. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. I hate everything. A 40-man. No,
you're the
dude,
oldest 36-year-old I know.
Listen, man, hey, I'm just a mature guy, all right? Listen, 40-man raids, it's too much in my opinion, dude. I don't like it, man. I'm not big on these enormous group settings though. Anyway, like I like small, intimate, close-knit groups that go out and do stuff. I like more small scale stuff. So I would like maybe a 10-man raid max, 8-man maybe. That's what I like to do, man.
I would like
one man. I just want to solo everything. Yeah. No, I don't play an MMO to play solo either. I play an MMO so I can play with a lot of people, and I don't mind being a part of a big guild either. I just don't like going and doing like one task, like one raid with 40 people. There's so much stuff that can go wrong with 40 people, and it ends up taking 10 hours to run a raid because you have. No, it's not, dude. I don't like to sit there
Larry
for 2
out of the group
hours
because he can't pull aggro, or he can't stop pulling aggro, or he can't do the mechanics.
It's too much. It's too much, man. It's too much to manage for me. I don't know. I guess I am just an old guy who just doesn't enjoy that type of gameplay anymore. I just want to go in there with my group that I know is going to be there. I know they're going to be reliable. We're going to have a great time doing it. We're going to be challenged. We're going to complete it. We're going to get out of there. We're going to high five, and we're going to move on. With 40 man, dude, you'd be in there for 12 hours doing the freaking raid, dude, because you can't get it together. It's not my cup of tea. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what they do, man, because honestly, I think they have meant scaling content as far as like, you know, how well your group is doing. In the open world dungeons, they mentioned like how quick you're killing bosses and how easy you're downing the content is how difficult the dungeon will progress as you progress. So I'd assume they have like raids doing probably the same thing, right? I would think. Is like, you know, balanced upon your group. How well your group is doing is how good the loot is, or how difficult the boss is. Maybe it turns from like a normal to a heroic type of difficulty or something like that. And then maybe it does the same with players. Who knows? It'll be interesting to see what they choose to do there. But I do think the more options, the merrier, because nowadays, I mean, you know, there's a lot of people that like you that are not open to doing a 40-man raid anymore because of it's a lot of coordination, dude. It actually is a ton. And then you got to listen to, you got to have a raid leader, and then it gets chaotic. You know how we are as human beings. You give someone power, then, you know, they're yelling at you and telling you you suck, and, you know, go watch the YouTube video and blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, we'll see, dude. I'm down for it. I like to raid. So if it's only 40 man, I'll definitely still be doing it, but I would like to see other options for players.
Yeah, and there's no DPS meter either, so you're not going to know who you're going to get.
I mean, I'll be at the top. I don't need one.
You know, I mean, okay. Yeah. I mean,
or I'll be a healer, and then I could just yell at other people.
Yeah, you're. I mean,
stay out of the red, man. That's all you gotta do. As a healer, if someone dies, you go stay out of the red. You don't even have to heal people. So you just yell at people for standing in bad stuff.
Dude, just don't stand in the red. You won't die.
Don't stand in the red, man. That's nothing to do with my healing, dude. Don't stand in the red.
Dude, you're such a toxic player, dude. Why do you? I mean,
that's literally what you do as a healer, man. That's not toxic.
Just toxic, dude. You gotta be nicer about it at least. Be like, hey, man, there's red there. You can maybe move out, please.
Hey, sir, I hate to bother you, but will you please not stand in the areas that cause damage? You know, it makes my job a lot harder as a healer, even though I use like one button to heal.
Yeah,
will you please?
Exactly. Yeah. I think also I have kids, man, so I can't sit there for 12 hours on a Saturday and do nothing but raid. Like that just doesn't work around my household anymore. So that's the problem.
You start at 8 p.m. and then you finish at 8 a.m. and then breakfast is ready, you know, and you're good to go.
I mean, I guess so. Yeah. Hey, there's solution fixed.
Then your wife, you know, makes you sleep on the couch for a while, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Life choices.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I think we've completely went off the rails at this point. So why don't we go into the Guild of the Week, dude?
Yeah, man. The Guild of the Week. The Guild of the Week. Their name is Home. Just HOME. That's the name of the guild. Home. They are. Yeah, dude. They have a pretty dope logo, actually. I really like it. So they are an EU guild. They're an English speaking guild. Their focus is PvX size 51 to 100. They are recruiting, and their server is going to be in Europe. They have a Discord channel that you guys are obviously more than welcome to join if you want to be a part of their guild. And they have an application form that is available on ashesfans.com. And I'll make sure to link all of this down below. It says, what is Home? Home is classed as a European-based semi-hardcore PvX guild. They are not role players, although it may sound like it. Here at Home, we spend time voice chatting and just chilling out in Discord channels. You always feel like a part of a family because every evening you'll be some friendly people online and voice chat to hang out with, share information with, or to get advice from. We are an exploration-oriented guild, so you'll be with friends you explore never before seen places and collect knowledge about your world. So that's a little bit about the guild. If you guys are interested in joining that, all of their information will be linked in, obviously, the YouTube description below, and then all of the podcast descriptions as well.
Yes, sir. And we thank you guys again for using Ashes Fans to create your guild post and promote your guild over there. So thank you for that. And if you have a guild and you would like it to be promoted on another episode of Ashes to Go over to ashesfans.com. There'll be a link, I'm sure, in the description, right? Maybe?
Yes.
Do you do that? Okay.
Yes.
And then...
Yeah, man, I got it, dude. Don't worry.
Awesome, man. You're the best. And then you guys click on that, and then you can go create a guild, and perhaps your guild will be promoted on the podcast. So do that. All right, guys. Well, we thank you guys again for listening. Bordy, why don't you tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, man. You can find me at Twitter at TheBDLG. Twitch is twitch.tv/BDLG. And then, of course, creating a ton of YouTube content at youtube.com/Studio Loot.
And I'm redbyrd with a Y. You can find me over at Twitch under that name. Also on Twitter. But, dude, just follow the Studio Loot Twitter account. I'm just like a retweet bot at this point on my account. So the official Studio Loot Twitter account is how you'll get up-to-date information on the content we're putting out over here at Studio Loot, including Ashes of Creation content. And then, yeah, go sub to the YouTube channel. We would appreciate that as well. Thank you guys so much for listening. We know the alpha is around the corner. We should have a lot of interesting episodes coming up for you guys with all the alpha information coming to the surface. And we look forward to that. So thank you guys again for listening, and we'll see you in another episode of Ashes to Go.